The Justice Department has also become a victim of a ransomware attack. It's reportedly unable to issue letters of authority, process bail, or even send emails. All electronic devices issued to staff are effectively useless. The court system is now back to being run manually, and cyber risk monitoring group Black Kite says these attacks are increasing a threat around the world. It estimates the majority of the US's largest companies have been breached, but could South African government and companies be doing more to stay safe? Jayson O'Reilly, who's with Atvance Intellect Cyber Division, joins us now to discuss this. Jayson, thanks so much for your time. What makes ransomware different to other types of hacking?
It's morning, Annika, and morning to your viewers. It's really the sophistication that is used by these attackers. It's social engineering, it's the techniques that they're using, and they're pretty persistent in what they do.
Jayson, is the South African government and our big corporates, are they just not taking, hacking seriously enough until it happens to them?
I think this has traditionally been a challenge with cybersecurity and information security, Annika, is, for many years we've sat in the corner, generally not at the boardroom level. And finally, and I say finally with all due respect, is we really got to see how organizations, unfortunately, due to, in some cases, mistakes of their own and in some cases not, effectively falling prey to hands of hackers. And what's happening is businesses are starting to pay more attention. And the reality is as we see, hackers starting to, expose different vulnerabilities of organizations and how we're using digital economies, it's becoming more and more difficult for organizations to get rid of these blind spots.
Jayson, the Justice Department have now got to manually issue death certificates to process, bereaved families and help them. Bail, maintenance, that hasn't been affected. That's been manually done. But it's really a case now of what does the department do? What if they don't pay? What else? What are the other options?
Well, I think this is what we're seeing on a global base, right? We talk about nation state and we talk about what ransomware is doing for the average citizen in the street today. And it's starting to affect us at grassroots level. And I think with the last couple of attacks that we've seen this month, one being of Transnet, South African National Blood Services, Road Accident Fund, the minute that a ransomware group understand that we are susceptible or a country is susceptible, it does become a focused area of how they can manipulate and earn money. I think for us at grassroots level, and specifically the citizen, we're starting to be affected more and more, which really makes ransomware, a national concern. We've seen, and we've got a lot to learn from European states and from the US, and we've seen at those levels where organizations, for example, in the US, the Colonial Pipeline was taken down. People couldn't get petrol for a number of days. And the reality is we're starting to see that complacency in the IT and the digital realm is unfortunately no longer an excuse. So, organizations need to really seriously look at their digital footprint, what they're doing online, what kind of services they're providing, and then most importantly, be prepared. We often talk about assuming the breach. And organizations today really need to take care and make sure that they are very well prepared because unfortunately, and I'm going to tag a line which lots of my colleagues are going to laugh about, it's not if, it's when. And unfortunately, when it starts to affect citizens of your country, it's something that you have to sit up and pay attention to.
Why aren't corporates and governments paying more attention to this? Is it a major cost issue?
It does become a cost issue. I think at boardroom level, if again, a lot of the time cybersecurity is seen as a cost item and a line item that is a cost. What we are seeing with the likes of ransomware, really we're starting to see that brands are being affected, consumers are being affected. So we also need to understand that the footprint and the kind of services being provided by organizations are far more complex than they used to be in the past, which means the ability to protect information, whether it's citizens' information or it's consumer information, is becoming more and more difficult. And there are far, far more blind spots than ever before. So it's not as easy as as saying, well, let's just switch on something and stop ransomware. It is a process, it is procedures, it's making sure that the organization is well prepared to be able to defend itself against a ransomware attacker. And we talk about today in our industry about offense being the new defense. And when we look at the boardroom level, those are the kind of conversations that need to be being had.
Jayson, I've got 30 seconds before we wrap up. What can I do to protect myself?
Well, most importantly, have visibility of your information in the new digital economy. So everything that is done online, make sure that you're well aware of it. At the same time, also understand who you can go to when an issue like this should be happening. There was a statistic that came up pretty recently that we presented with 333% increase in digital fraud is happening, impersonations. So, ransomware is a corporate challenge. And if it wasn't for me being a member of the African CISO Alliance, I wouldn't know as much as I do today. But what is very important is that we are very, very conscious of what we're doing on the internet, what we're doing online, and we don't just think it's this new shiny thing that we can use and in many cases abuse.
All right, thank you so much, Jayson O'Reilly, the General Manager of Atvance Intellect Cyber Division.